Hello all, and long time no see, chat, whatever. Um, I had planned on doing a video on the last Ring of Honor pay-per-view and the anniversary show, and I did watch it, but life didn't just get in the way. It blindsided me, picked me up, slammed me down in every which way, and I just haven't had the time or felt like it, to be honest. Things have been, to say crazy would be a vast understatement. You ever had those stretches where it feels like everything that could go wrong literally goes wrong, and it just keeps getting worse and worse? Pretty much how it's been going for me probably the last 2.5 weeks. So, but I'm not here to gripe about that, more just to explain why you haven't seen that video. But I did watch it. It was excellent, I thought. I don't think there was even, an okay match. I think everything was at least good, or somewhere around the good range. The main event angle was not something that's going to completely reshape the company and fix everything that's wrong with Ring of Honor and all of that, but it was a nice stepping stone towards something that could do that. You had really two excellent tag matches, which I'm always for. A surprise title turn, or maybe even two surprise title turns. So, and going into the Supercard of Honor show for WrestleMania weekend, it looks pretty good, I would say. And they announced that Carl Anderson, I had to think of his name, was coming for Supercard of Honor. So I'm all for that. I think that sounds greatness in my opinion. So I like that. But of course we have the rest of WrestleMania, and of course I think that was the last vid I did where I talked about the fact I wouldn't be going to WrestleMania this year for various reasons. And even if I was going, at this point, I don't know if I would actually go through with going or not. The fact of the matter is, every week we keep going, the less interested I get into the pay-per-view. Uh, you know, uh, 3 weeks ago, I felt like there was 3 weeks ago. I felt like there was much less hype 3 weeks ago than there was the same time last year. I had people, I'd only lived in Oklahoma City for at that point maybe about 6 months, and at that point in time, okay, the I had, people started finding out I liked pro wrestling. I'd already asked off for WrestleMania weekend. They knew I was going to Miami for WrestleMania. But even before, kind of, as soon as kind of The Rock came back, people started asking me stuff about wrestling. Just was, what did I think of it? Did I think it was going to be good? Just, oh, did you see this? They just started asking me stuff about pro wrestling. Those same people this year are not doing that, and I think that says a lot. The MMA people that I talked to here in Oklahoma City really, where, after WrestleMania and Brock came in, and even leading up to, Brock and Cena, they were really into. Brock and Triple H, not so much, and this they haven't even asked. So ultimately, I think they've taken, two guys, a pay-per-view. If you said last year that you were going to have Rock and Brock, at the next WrestleMania, and that it might do less than this WrestleMania, than last year's WrestleMania, that uh, it would, people would say there's no way. And yet, I really feel like that's going to be the case as far as buys, because there just seems to be no hype for this show. You have Cena and Rock, and we knew we were going to get that last year. And it's for the title, and that was supposed to add something, except it really hasn't added anything. What really has, the one thing that's added to the match is really Cena talking about the fact that, him losing to The Rock was the worst thing that's happened to him, and it's caused all these bad things to happen to him. And it makes more sense that way than just going for the title. You hate to say it, but really that match is bigger than the title. and it kind of overshadows the title in a lot of ways. And so it didn't need to be for the title. And I've harped on this over and over again, but you know, Punk not having the title is a mistake, and then Punk not losing the title at WrestleMania to Ryback is an even bigger mistake in my opinion. If Ryback doesn't work, hey, you've got a pay-per-view a month down the road. You can easily take the title off of him then and put it on somebody else. There's no question about it. Easily done, and it's easy to fix. But you at least have a chance now to fix all the stuff that went bad because you pushed him in an emergency way, and then you had all these other things happen. So to me, that's where that should have gone. You didn't have Triple H and Brock Lesnar again, and we found out tonight it's going to be for Triple H's career. Most people, I think, that saw Triple H and Undertaker last year thought that that was possibly Triple H's last match. With the way it ended, some people thought that might be Undertaker's last match because of the way it ended. Then he comes back and he faces Brock, and then the way that ended, it looked like, well, maybe that will be his last match. And no, now we're going to have another match, and in this match, well, this could be his last match, maybe. If he does the job, it will be his last match. Is that a big enough thing? To me, if you're going to do this match, if this is the match you have to do, then why not, you have Paul Heyman there, why not just do the old-fashioned, if Brock wins, I get your job, and now I control the WWE. And do the whole Vince McMahon, do the whole McMahon's versus Heyman thing. Yes, it's been done before, but it works. So, and it would work better than this, and that's not what we're getting. So again, there's, and then I guess they also announced what Team Hell No versus Langston and Ziggler. Really? I mean, that's the best you could do for the tag titles? Really? Yeah. There's and then you're going to have Swagger and Del Rio, which, hasn't worked because Del Rio doesn't work as a babyface. It's very evident for that, and he's not been pushed properly to be a babyface. And people really, while the angle itself did get, media attention, it really hasn't worked all that great. I wouldn't say you could argue Del Rio is in a worse place now than he was when he was a heel. What else? And then we might get, I guess, Ryback versus, I guess, depending on whatever they want to do with Ryback. Though I do hope that he's with the Shield. At least put him in the Shield match and have him go over the Shield finally. At least do that, I would say. But honestly, there's nothing about this card that I don't think excites anybody. And that's a huge mistake. If I was going to New York, I don't know if I would watch WrestleMania. I don't know if I would go to WrestleMania. If I watched it, I might watch it, my friend Brian's house, because I'd be shocked if he would want to go at this point. I haven't really asked him. But would we go to Ring of Honor? Sure. Would we go to? I pretty much guarantee we'd go to the Chikara shows or show. We'd probably go to some of the other WrestleCon stuff. I would hope we could find tickets to go to the Hall of Fame. All of that stuff I think would be fine, and I would say anyone that's going, have fun, because that looks like it's going to be good stuff. But WrestleMania itself, not so much. And WWE probably make a ton of money that weekend. I have no doubt about it. But the pay-per-view itself, I'm just not convinced that it's going to do big numbers. And I think that is the thing. And the other part of that is the people that are going to get blamed for it. It's going to be Brock Lesnar. It's going to be The Rock. They're going to say, see, these guys, they're really not as over as we thought we were. We're paying them too much money. We don't need this, that, and the other. Instead of, well, the thing is, you put Rock in a last year, hey, even I was like, hey, we get to see Rock, we get Cena in the same ring. It'll be a cool sight to see. It'll be a cool moment. Now you're doing part 2, it loses something. Then you bring in Brock, and you've got, I can remember, even the people who, when they came in last year, the people who are not diehard wrestling fans that I know that, at least knew that Brock came in, they all asked me the same thing. Brock's taking on Undertaker next year, right? Brock's taking on Undertaker. Brock's taking on, that's what everyone thought we were going to see. It's not what we're seeing. And I think there's a lot of people out there that, and I've heard a lot of people say this, that they have, that they've talked to people and they're like, yeah, why aren't they doing Brock and Undertaker? That makes the most sense to people. Now, maybe for whatever reason that match just didn't work and they couldn't do it, and hey, completely understand. I don't know. Maybe that's the case. Not saying it's not, but give me a break. I mean, this just it feels very lackluster. There's not one match on this show that I feel like I have to see. And I can't remember the last time there was a WrestleMania like that. You'd probably have to go back. You have to go back a long ways for there to be a WrestleMania that I felt like there was nothing on that show I didn't have to see. I'm not looking at any of the WrestleMania cards, so I can't think of anything off the top of my head. But honestly, there's nothing I can't think of anything. Um, you know, that I would be like, there's nothing on this I want to see. There's very much that gets me excited. Punk and Undertaker does nothing for me. It really doesn't. They had Paul Bearer die, so now they're using, the Paul Bearer stuff to, try to get Punk over so that people will pay to watch him get his butt kicked. I don't know, but that doesn't work for me, and I didn't think it was. And what would they have done if that didn't happen? I mean, really? I mean, what was their idea? I mean, none of this just seems right, I guess. Very lackluster. I watched the UFC pay-per-view, and while it didn't deliver to the extent that I don't think anything would have delivered with the hype that thing had, but at the same time, that was insane. That thing's probably going to bring in a monster number. Without a doubt. As much as I think, Nick Diaz deserves tons of money for the amount of just excitement people had for that show. And, you know, and that's the difference between, MMA, even though, UFC can choose whoever they want, and they can put, I mean, we're going to see that with Chael Sonnen and John Jones. They picked Chael because he can sell a fight, and people will buy his stuff, and they're going to stick him with John Jones, who on pay-per-view eyes and get a big pay-per-view buy out of it. They can do that. Not as easily as the WWE can, and yet the WWE can't get stuff together to get people more excited for their biggest show of the year than probably the Ronda Rousey fight, pay-per-view. I think seemed like it had more hype. I think WrestleMania just on its name will probably do more buys than that, but it seemed like it had more hype. This pay-per-view last week seemed to have more hype. I think that the July 4th show is shaping up to where it's going to be July 4th weekend show. That's going to be, that looks like it's going to, probably have some hype behind it. How can UFC, who, and part, don't get me wrong, it is real, that does add to the hype of it, but how can they manipulate the hype better than WWE can, who everything's about manipulation, and they can't even manipulate it? Just boggles my mind. Boggles it. Just insanity to me how much better this card would have been if they just would have used their heads and said, you know what, this should be, let's be honest, I understand that, they probably like having Team Hell No together, but I think it hurts you long term because I think it's very evident that Daniel Bryan now can go off into his own and be the thing that we all knew he could be, and do that breakup match at WrestleMania. Very easy to do. There is a feud that was long term. You do Punk, you do Ryback at WrestleMania, another long term feud. Wow. You do Cena, you do Punk, another long term feud. Yes, we're seeing it again, but again, I have no problem with it. I mean, that's a match that I think people still want to see. And then you could have done Undertaker and Brock, and that's another match you could have hyped up very well, right there. I mean, that's just me just throwing stuff out. That doesn't even get into the world title stuff. That doesn't even get into other things you could have done. You still have Ziggler with the briefcase, and we don't know what he's gonna do. I mean, there's lots of other things that and I guess they could do that with WrestleMania too, but they really haven't hyped that up very much. But there you go. I mean, it is mind-boggling to me how just uninterested I am in this card. It really is, because there's, as I said, there's usually something about WrestleMania that I'm at least hyped about. And as far as WWE goes, the most hyped thing I am to see is Bruno Sammartino going to the Hall of Fame. That's it. Everything else is probably, and I don't even know what's on all of the pay-per-views, but I'll probably watch. I can guarantee you, I'll probably watch WrestleMania. I won't lie, but I will probably, I will still take WrestleMania weekend off, not to watch WrestleMania, because I could work WrestleMania weekend and still watch WrestleMania. I will take WrestleMania off, stay at home, sit in front of my computer, and watch all the pay-per-views, because that to me is more interesting than watching WrestleMania, than taking time out of my to watch WrestleMania. Just saying. But anyways, I just wanted to come on and talk about that, because I was going to wait until they did the announcement for whatever the stipulation was going to be with Brock and Triple H, and it's Triple H has to retire if he loses. Big whoop-de-doo. You know, just wow. Really, just amazing to me. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this thing will do monster buys, and I'll look like an idiot. If so, I'll be like, I was an idiot. But I just don't see it. I really don't. I don't feel it. I don't see the hype. And that's not just in the little, internet wrestling bubble. I don't see it outside the internet wrestling bubble either. Yes, I know that there are, the attendance is up and the ratings are up, but that doesn't necessarily translate into buys for pay-per-views. It doesn't. I mean, that history shows that it doesn't necessarily translate into that. So we'll see. But I just don't see it right now. But anyways, with that, I'm out. Have a good one later.